like to call the meeting of the Highway and Building Committee. I'd like to call the meeting of the Highway and Buildings Committee to order for Thursday, August 13th, and we're meeting at 1 o'clock today, not at our standard 9 o'clock. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kinzinger?
Present.
Mr. Long?
Present.
Mr. Hess?
Present.
Mr. Tholen? Ms. Polk?
Present.
Mr. Snipes?
Present.
Ms. Peters?
Present.
Mr. Zenz? Ms. Haas? Mr. Carrico?
Present.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Present.
Mr. Featherling?
Present.
Mr. Smith? Mr. Dennell?
Present.
Mr. Kirkstra?
Present.
Mr. Hunter?
Here.
Mr. Wheeler? Ms. Haas?
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. There are no public comments. Is there anybody in the back of the room or seeing no comments? I'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes. Mr. Long.
Polk.
Second by Mr. Polk, seconds. That can be a voice vote because we have a quorum in the room. All those in favor of approval of the minutes signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I would entertain a motion to amend the agenda to move old business as our next item of business so that Mr. Wheeler can depart. He needs to be here for that.
Chairman, I think we have to do we still have to do that Zoom vote because they are on
No,
Zoom?
not as long as we have a majority, a quorum present in the room. No,
Okay.
at least that's what I've been told. I don't know. Is that correct?
That's what we do.
That's what we've been doing. There's a quorum in the room.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna conduct a meeting like we always do. So I would entertain a motion. Mr. Smith's first, Colton seconds. We're going to move qualified vendor to provide county with strategic plan and space needs. Do you want to handle the introduction to that?
Yeah, I can. All those in favor?
Sure.
Sorry, we got to vote. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. All those in favor of amending the agenda signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. We have an agreement. Go ahead.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this has been a delay for a while because of COVID and all of that situation. We had this committee had agreed to put out an RFQ, and Q meaning qualifications, not quote. It was qualifications, who a partner would be to potentially work with us to develop not only a strategic plan on infrastructure for the county for the next 15, 20 years, 10 to 20 years basically, but also a space needs to accomplish that based on all the things that we have done before. As a reminder, we had an opportunity with some of the real estate and going on in downtown Kankakee and interest in this building and other properties that we had to see exactly what was going on here and what we would need if we were to move somewhere else. And we also had mentioned, and we're very cognizant of the fact that we don't have money, and whatever we did would have to be based on a frugal approach, not building new, but retrofitting. We already had studies done on the courthouse at substantial cost. We've had 2 series of those studies, so we know what the space needs and the issues are over there. 10 judges, 9 courtrooms, potentially another judge because of census and things like that. Traffic court, the jury selection area and the jury waiting room down in the basement. And it's bad, and it's not, especially in COVID. It forced them to put jury members across over at the Knights of Columbus and going back and forth because that room now is a viewing room, because the jury is now spread all over the courtroom. But again, that's a unique situation now, but it also brings to draw attention the fact that they got serious issues at the courthouse on space needs. So the qualifications part it was an open bid process. You publish it on the website, you publish it in the paper, you get the response back from people that are interested, and then a group of 3 board members met with them. I wasn't part of any of this. The board members did it. They met, talked to the company that they're going to, I guess, recommend today, and to be able to see, is this the type of company that we want to work with? Do they have the experience? They'll tell you about the question process. Do they have experience not just building greenfield, but also retro into other existing buildings, things like more what we're talking about. And again, we're not just talking about this building, the Treasurer's building back there, the annex over at the courthouse, the courts and courthouse, animal control, because we're all looking at that at the same time, saying, what do we need to do there? Because that building is about as good as it's ever going to get, and it's only going to get worse. And then the county highway buildings and all the properties they have over there. Mark had asked to have that included as well. So that's the scope as it stands right now, but what we're talking about here is this committee has to decide, are these guys qualified? Are these the people we want to come back and tell us how much it will cost based on a further narrowing of the scope, if you will, as we work? Probably that's where we would work. I would work with them and Anita and obviously Mr. Kinzinger to get this narrowed down right into the scope we need it to be so they can give us a number. Something that doesn't have a lot of zeros at the end of it is what I'm getting at. So they would bring that number back to us and say, this is what it would cost for what you're asking for, and then we make a financial decision. So this is this the right company to give us that number discussion? Does that make sense? I just didn't want the two to get confused because that we're not at the point of a number yet. We're at a point of qualifications based on our needs. So is that?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
At least, I don't think we have the name of the company. Is that something that Anita's going to familiarize us with who's making a presentation?
Or it could be the people that interviewed them. I thought that's why I asked Mr.
That was one of the interviews. That was nice.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Chairman. Me, John?
Yeah. Go ahead, Mr. Featherling.
I was one of the three that met with everybody, Judge Tom and Wes, and we met with a few other people about future needs and problems that they had today. And we met about they had things that weren't necessarily brick and mortar type things, but we were looking for brick and mortar type things. So we went over and covered everything, and then we kind of let this other company, this White, W-I-G-H-T and Associates, we kind of filled them in on what we were looking to do and buildings we were looking at, things we were looking at maybe doing. So we questioned them and asked them a lot of questions about, can you build, can you do this? They gave us a brochure that, I could probably get everybody one, but they've done all kinds of neat work everywhere. But they're also qualified to do the type of work we're going to need to do. We're probably not going to be building any new buildings, and we're probably going to be retrofitting buildings. They have architects that are qualified to go over with us, walk through these buildings and see if it's possible to do what we're thinking about doing. And they could just help us put together a plan and come up with some tentative numbers and a little bit of a dream thing. I kind of called it the dream team when we did it. Like maybe a year and a half ago, Andy, right? And George Washington and I were on there, and George isn't here anymore, obviously, God bless him, but he met with us too, and we covered quite a few things with Judge Tom and Wes, so we had everything pretty much down what we think we need to do. So we're ready to move on with this company to get this project going, but we need to talk to the board about, is it okay to give this company the nod after, I interviewed him, Jim Byrne, and we also had Joe was on there with us too, so we had quite a few questions asked. It was a 2.5-hour meetings went over a couple of stuff. They're very qualified, very professional, very knowledgeable. I threw some curveballs at them, and the architect guy, the guy was leading the show, came back, and then he switched with the architect, and she's used to, she can put on boots and go climb around too. So that's the kind of company that we need. We don't need one of these companies that sits in the office and doesn't know how to, what to do in the field. So I really feel as though we got the right need response here from this company. So I don't know if anybody else has anything they'd like to add, but
yeah, I do. I'm
real confident going forward with this. I don't know how Jim feels about it, but let's hear from Jim now, I guess.
Yeah, I was part of the 1.5-hour meeting with White and Company. I was rather impressed. Their body of work encompasses a lot of public sector works, build-outs, as well as new construction. They've been involved in various projects in Kane County, Kendall County, Grundy County, DuPage, and Will. Their experience has been around quite a significant amount of time. This isn't a fly-by-night operation. They're very in-depth and understand our budgetary concerns. They're not going to go and say, for example, we in our mind, we want to buy a Corvette. And they're going to look at us and say, no, you're on the Chevy Malibu budget. As Andy stated before, we did a space study need before. For a lot of money, we got a heck of a few good drawings and a PowerPoint presentation to show for it. They are aware of our budget constraints, and to me, that's the most important thing as well as looking forward. They are going to look at our space needs, not just for now, but moving forward, not just about COVID. It's also about down the road, 20 years, technology, being efficient. And also we have to think about our employees and making their jobs efficient and easy as well. So this is a broad range project, which they have a wide range of experience on, being the general contractor, being directly involved, as John said, from the architectural point of view to the construction point of view to actually looking in and looking at the space needs of what we currently have and looking down the road what we could potentially have. I mean, COVID opened up a lot of eyes on what are, people perhaps working remotely. How are we going to function in using newer technology? How are we going to utilize space? So based on the conversation and the questions I had and Joe and John, they are extremely qualified. I feel they'd be very good partners in this project. They're not going to just say, here's our number, let's work with it. Here's what we recommend based on your needs, not what we think you need, but based on what you need. And again, it really, in a public project, comes down to dollars and cents. And I think they'll be very good partners and understand the fact that we aren't looking for the Taj Mahal or anything like that. And I also want to put a disclaimer out there before it even gets off the ground. No, we're not looking at a new courthouse. We're looking at space needs, if possible, for our current buildings, and see where we are at and see how we can better utilize them. So I felt really good talking to them. They're really engaged. They have experience dealing with government bodies like ourselves. So this isn't their first rodeo. Thanks.
Mr. Hunter?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a couple questions regarding their references. You indicated that they've done work, their body of work includes several different counties. I was wondering, have you actually talked to or discussed, had any feedback from their references? Additionally, have you done any on-site visits to some of their body of work?
No, we were tasked with just looking into if they were even qualified to start the process. That ultimately is going to come down to the Building and Grounds Committee. We were just vetting the company based on their background. Should we even move forward with them? This is going to be a Building and Grounds Committee. We were just a vetting process to who applied, who came forward, and move on to you guys.
I can respond. I was in the Zoom meeting with this company, and they appear to be very qualified and what I call money sensitive. I was favorably impressed. I think that the secret to our group is to define the scope narrow enough so that we spend the money wisely and accomplish what we want to accomplish. We're not out here to say, here we are, what do we do? We have to narrow the scope. I think before us today is the issue whether we want to pursue this idea of doing a space needs analysis, both for the current and the near future, and some are saying 10 or 15 years beyond. And we say, yes, let's get them in here. Let's talk to them. Let's design a proposal that we want them to do and get a price on it and see if it makes sense. So I think we're here primarily to say, yes, this is something we should pursue. Let's pursue it with this company, see what kind of proposal we can get from them and analyze the cost. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Well, yeah, I think it's important to draw the distinction because, to your point, they're doing the Will County Courthouse right now. They're involved in that on the whole project from start to finish. So, but we don't want what happened with the courthouse to be repeated, which was, oh, we need this whole new addition or new building onto the courthouse, and then we spend all this money, $600 grand, I believe, was the cost on that. And we got some really wonderful drawings, and actually the space needs was accurate, per the Supreme Court standards, but it wasn't accurate in terms of we're never going to be able to afford $190 million. Okay, that was dead on arrival when I was sitting in this seat right here when that was being presented, and when the jaw hit the table and I stopped laughing, I realized that we've been taken for a ride. And so that's not what this is. This was to pick somebody who can give us a price on what it would cost to tell us what that space needs is, based on our current and projected future staffing, changes in laws, changes in, you know, like the juvenile situation, all of that we're talking about.
With all due respect,
You have to wait, you have to wait for me to acknowledge you. That's one of the jobs I have.
that's why I was waving at you.
Mr. Hunter.
Thank you very much. You're asking us to make a determination on qualifications. And it's nice to be able to read a brochure and talk with them and so forth, like, you know, buying a car. I want to go and kick the wheels and look in the car and sit in it. And all I'm saying to you, and it could be a collaborative effort, this committee and the Building and Grounds, as you indicated. All I'm saying is, you know, I haven't been to Joliet in a while, but I assume they've done some of the same things we've done, and I know I knew the county executive who used to be our senator, and I'm sure that they probably made a pragmatic and a rational decision regarding the Will County Courthouse, as the chairman has indicated. All I'm suggesting is, you know, that maybe there could be a site visit to look at some of their work. So that's all I'm saying.
Okay, one of the things, and I definitely what you said is going to happen, but I think you're at step 2, maybe 3. We need to find out who this company is, give them specific instructions in terms of what we want to accomplish, get a proposal from them, and then before we sign the proposal, we go visit and see what kind of work they do.
Yeah.
That's the way I think it should be done.
I
Yes,
agree.
you may, Mr. Hunter.
I agree. I concur with that. If that's the explanation in the process, I don't have a problem with that.
Well, that's the way I understand it, and I'm not the decision maker. That's between Andy and maybe I
Mr.
should.
Chairman, Mr. Chairman?
You're on the TV. You have to wait a minute.
Okay. Turn my channel on, will you?
See, I told you this go to my head. You got to get me out of this seat. Go ahead, John.
I would tell Mr. Hunter there, Steve, that if we go to these places and look around, we're not gonna be able to get a tour like we would get if we went with them, see their stuff. So they need to know if they're gonna be actually working on this project or doing this project, or they spend a whole lot of time with us, I think. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that's the idea, the impression I got, so.
I just want to remember, we're at the phase of saying, is this company the right kind of company to talk about space needs and about strategic planning? Now, the other part of it on, are you going to be the people we partner to build with, or build out with? That's down the road.
Absolutely.
But the first part is we had this group of people meeting, so we didn't have to have a big old group of people meeting all the time. And we did the pre-work with, as Mr. Featherly mentioned, with the judges, with everybody to talk, Wes, and what's going on in your buildings, what do you see the future being? So we have a lot of this stuff done. We're looking for a frugal approach to say, we'll charge you X amount of dollars to give you the space needs and the infrastructure needs for the future of the strategic plan. After that, it's up to us to say, yeah, we want to pay that amount of money for this to go to the next step. And that's where we start going around and who's going to be the builder, who's going to be all of that. That's down the road.
Ms. Speckman, do you have something you want to add to that? Are we doing it the way you think we should do it?
That's exactly right. I just didn't want,
You want to take the mic?
yeah.
Go ahead.
I just think it's important for this group to understand when
Can't hear
we
it, Ron.
talk about the vetting process and that was the task of that group of 3, and then they met again with Mr. Kinzinger. That was in terms of, this is the guys, this is the entity we want to try to move forward with. That's not to say we agree there's an open-ended, we're not agreeing to sign a contract to get this. We're agreeing to move forward to get a proposal from them for a price to do this, to move forward with this space needs analysis. Now, and it's the other thing I did want to, you'll note that in the RFQ, we did provide them with the 2 previous studies. So the thought process was that by looking, some of that legwork will already be done and hopefully result in a more cost-effective proposal from them that they're going to use. And the committee did bring this up in their questioning of this entity, they did ask them, you know, it was specifically asked, did you receive those? Yes. Would you use that information? Yes. So they're not starting with a blank sheet and starting all over again. They're going to start with what's already been done.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I got one
No,
more.
just a second, John. Mr. Hess?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Andy has moved from that chair a few times since that time. We have people that are interested in this building, a couple of other buildings that we have, and I'm gonna make the motion that we move this forward before interest is lost in some of these. I mean, we've had this white elephant sitting on this opposite corner over here for
Treasurer's building.
Treasurer's Building for quite some time. And if there's interest in that, I think we need to do something.
And before we can do anything, we need
We
to
have
know
to
what
move
we
this
need and
forward.
have a plan. I
Right.
agree. I think we should move forward and get a proposal from White and Company. And is that a motion that you're making?
Yes, I am.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second it.
Mr. Colton
I'll second
seconds.
it.
Do we need to spend, we're not spending any
No, it's
money,
voice
it's just
vote at
a
this
voice
point.
vote, yes. All those in, wait a minute,
Mr.
just,
Chairman,
go ahead, Mr. Hess.
I think you ought to have all the Zoom members on this vote too, so I request a voice vote
From the Zoom members.
from all members.
All members, all right.
Roll call, you mean?
Roll call, yeah.
Mr. Snipes, you had a question, we have a motion on the floor.
Yeah, while we're addressing the revenue liability sensitivity of this particular, I guess, RFQ, which is just the, not the RFQQ, but the RFQ, which is the request for qualification, it must be meted with a qualitative and quantitative, I said, cost benefit analysis, that feasibility, that product, I mean, that we can do whatever it is that we're trying to do, and that we're getting at the best cost. So I guess without the quote, we're only looking at qualifications, but at some point, I'm gonna have to look at the numbers of what it would cost us. And is this the primary company that has exceeded all the other in both the qualifications and also in the and let me say this, responsible price quote? Because sometimes you can get a nice quote, but the quality is not there. So that's just my concern.
Okay. I don't think there's anybody that would disagree with you on that statement. We're not at that point yet. We're trying to move forward with an idea and to get a proposal of which all of us can react to. Yes, Mr. Featherling, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention that we're just trying to get together something, Mr. Snipes, so that we can get a price from this company and they got an idea where we're going, so that we will have all control of everything before it goes any further than we recommended right now, just to get a bid, a price to put it together for us.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. I would like to call a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Kinzinger,
Aye.
Mr. Long,
Yes.
Mr. Hess,
Aye.
Ms. Polk,
Aye.
Mr. Snipes,
Aye.
Ms. Peters,
Aye.
Mr. Zenz,
Aye.
Ms. Haas,
Aye.
Mr. Carrico,
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff,
Aye.
Mr. Featherling,
Aye.
Mr. Smith, Mr. Dunnell,
Aye.
Mr. Kirkstra,
Aye.
Mr. Hunter,
Yes.
Mr. Wheeler,
Aye.
motion carries.
Thank you. Mr. Rogers.
Can we do the minutes?
Yes.
You want to pull up my PowerPoint there?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from July 16th to 20?
Mr. Featherling, that was done at the beginning of the meeting.
Really?
Who let the dogs out?
All right. This afternoon, I should say, we do have a letting for section 20-09117-01-BR non-MFT. This is the result of the resolution that went through the county board on Tuesday for an emergency repair in Norton. So I guess I need a
Motion. I need a motion to open those bids. Mr. Long.
So moved.
Polk.
That's
Polk seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Go ahead.
Okay, the first bidder we have is Hamann Wagner. And there is a bid bond attached as a proposal guarantee. Hamann Wagner's bid is $71,676.90. $71,676.90. Next is Lion Construction. They have a bid bond attached as a proposal guarantee. Lion's bid is $152,216.00. $152,216.00. Next is Oakwood Enterprises. They have a bid bond attached as a proposal guarantee. Oakwood's bid is $80,030.00. $80,030.00. Next is Scanlon Excavating and Concrete. They have a bid bond attached as a proposal guarantee. Scanlon's bid is $66,401.00. $66,401.00. And last is Toby's Construction and Cartage. They have a bid bond attached as a proposal guarantee. Toby's bid is $64,335.00. $64,335.00. Parent low bidder is Toby's Construction and Cartage, and I will review these, and if there's a motion to approve, I'll have the chairman sign the contracts.
So it's within the estimate that you proposed?
Well, the estimate was 66,000, so yes, it's within the estimate.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion, Mr. Hess, a second. I'll take Mr. Smith this time, to approve the lowest responsible bidder after it's been reviewed by the engineer. That will be a roll call vote.
Mr. Kinzinger?
Aye.
Mr. Long?
Aye.
Mr. Hess?
Aye.
Ms. Pope?
Aye.
Mr. Snipes?
Aye.
Ms. Peters?
Aye.
Mr. Zenz?
Aye.
Ms. Haas?
Aye.
Mr. Carrico?
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling?
Aye.
Mr. Smith? Mr. Deno?
Aye.
Mr. Kirkstra?
Aye.
Mr. Hunter? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, go ahead, Mr.
I
Featherling.
have a question for Mr. Rogers here. If you find something isn't quite right in the lowest bid here at 64, do you automatically go up to the next one and then review that, or we have to give you a motion to be able to approve up? Because I know this is an emergency deal.
Those numbers are just as read, so whoever is the lowest responsible bidder, that's who will get the project.
Okay, so when you consider responsible, you mean it has it all covered in scope and detail exactly the way you requested it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Next on the agenda is county engineer's pay estimates. Those are in your packet. The first one is for our Kankakee County General Maintenance for 2020. This is payable to Gallagher Asphalt Corporation. This is hot mix picked up at their plant with our trucks, and that amount is $1,192.36. Next is for our Kankakee County General Maintenance for 2020 Supplement 3. This is a pay estimate to Grosso Construction Company for the ongoing oil and chip work being done in the county, and that amount is $153,603.31. Next is for Kankakee County General Maintenance for 2020 GM Supplement 4. This is payable to Hammond Wagner Excavating. This is for pulverization and aggregate base repair on County Highway 33. And that amount is $73,643.41. Next is for Kankakee County General Maintenance for 2020. This is payable to Vulcan Construction Materials. This is for road mix and chips picked up at the quarry with our trucks, and that amount is $31,417.03. Next is Bourbonnais Road District for their 2020 general maintenance. This is payable to Grosso Construction Company for oil and chip work done in the township, and that amount is $45,033.61. Next is Mantino Road District for their 2020 general maintenance. This is payable to Grosso Construction Company for oil and chip work done in the township, and that amount is $131,696.60. Next is Moments Road District for their 2020 general maintenance, payable to Grosso Construction Company, and that's for oil and chip work done in Moments Township, and that amount is $47,178.71. Next is Pilot Road District for their 2020 general maintenance. This is payable to Grosso Construction Company for oil and chip work done in the township, and that amount is $145,784.95. Next is Rockville Road District for their 2020 general maintenance. This is payable to Grosso Construction Company for oil and chip work done in Rockville Township, and that amount is $38,854.91. Next is Otto Township Road District for their 2020 general maintenance. This is payable to Vulcan Construction Materials. This is for road mix picked up at the quarry with township trucks, and that amount is $1,143.55. Next is for our Kankakee County 2020 general maintenance non-MFT. This is payable to, this is a final pay estimate to Kankakee Valley Construction. This is for the overlays on Highland Road and Vanderkar Road, and that amount is $374,370.76. And last is for our 2020 bridge inspections. This is payable to Engineering Resource Associates. This is for May, June, July MBS inspections, and that amount is $7,670.00.
I'll need a motion to accept those pay estimates. Mr. Kirkstra. Seconds. Who first? Who? Mr. Long. So we have a motion and a second to approve the pay estimates. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Kinzinger?
Aye.
Mr. Long?
Aye.
Mr. Hess?
Aye.
Ms. Polk?
That's me.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes?
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. Peters? Aye. Mr. Zenz?
Aye.
Ms. Haas?
Aye.
Mr. Carrico?
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff? Mr. Featherling?
Aye.
Mr. Smith? Mr. Dunnell?
Aye.
Mr. Kirkstra?
Aye.
Mr. Hunter? Motion carries.
Thank you. Still got the floor, Mark.
All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this is Mr. Dunnell. I need to step away to my next meeting. Just letting you guys know that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next slide is our resolution declaring surplus equipment at the Highway Department. We have a 2006 International dump truck, a 2010 Flink Reversible Snow Plow, a 1998 Swenson Salt Spreader, 2 floor jacks, a push mower, shop vac, and a conference table. And the next few slides are the pictures. There's our 2006 International. It's got 114,997 miles on it. It does come with the wing plow as shown there. There's the reversible snow plow. There is the salt spreader. The 2 floor jacks and the push mower. The push mower does the engine shot, and the jacks are very old. And then the next slide is the shop vac, and it doesn't work either, but I have to declare it surplus. So those items will go on our annual sale, which hopefully will be at next month's meeting.
What makes a truck like that surplus?
Usually when we hit about 100,000 miles, we look at surplusing it, run into issues, but yeah, we've got a replacement for that truck. So yeah,
There's no trade-in value on a new truck like that?
no,
Okay.
no, we seem to do okay with the sale.
All right, very good. So we have a resolution before us. Do I have a motion to approve that resolution? Mr. Carrico? Mr. Carrico, was that you?
Yep.
Antonio Carrico moves. Larry seconds. It's carried.
Mr. Kinzinger?
Aye.
Mr. Long?
Aye.
Mr. Hess?
Aye.
Ms. Polk? Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Mr. Snipes?
Aye.
Ms. Peters? Aye. Mr. Zenz?
Aye.
Ms. Haas?
Aye.
Mr. Carrico?
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff? Mr. Featherling?
Aye.
Mr. Smith? Mr. Kirkstra?
Aye.
Mr. Hunter?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Next on the agenda is a staffing request at the highway.
Just a second.
Okay.
Mr. Hunter?
I acknowledge, thank you very much. Got a question, inquiry. When you, motion passed declaring that equipment surplus, is there a possibility, or do you have any history with negotiating with other entities, governmental units, community-based organizations, 501c3 groups, to sell that stuff to them? Or do you have to do it at your auction?
They can bid, and this board decides who gets the bid. But yeah, if there's somebody that you want me to send a proposal to, just let me know who to send the proposal to. But this committee decides who actually gets that in the end.
Okay, for example, what I'm saying is there's some other governmental units and let's say Sun River Terrace, for example. They have needs, for this piece of equipment or some of the equipment. As opposed to bidding on the at your sale that you have, the auction or whatever, can this body or can county government negotiate with that particular governmental unit as far as providing them with the equipment?
I don't know that we've had history with that. I know that Pembroke Township has purchased and won the bid on these type of things. But like I said, it's up to this committee. But we did use highway funds to purchase these things, and we're trying to get some trade-in value with our stuff.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, it's up to this committee.
I do know that in these bids that there are other townships that bid on this equipment also, and I'd hate to pick one over another because sometimes there's a bidding war for this stuff from various townships. You're on.
Okay. Next is a staffing request at the Highway Department. In 2011, when the ERI went through, I had an engineering technician that retired and has not been replaced. Recently, with the increase in MFT, the townships now have a little bit more money to spend, and we are trying to put things together for them. And I was informed here that recently that I do have another engineering technician that's going to be retiring. So I'm coming to this committee to just get the head nod for me to go ahead and hire another engineering technician.
Doesn't your budget already include this? Or what are you doing?
I do have room in my budget for this position, yes.
So what are you wanting from us?
Just an okay. That's
Just saying,
yeah, just a head nod to go ahead and do that, because I think according to the county board, we weren't supposed to hire anybody unless we got permission.
Even if it was in your budget?
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
Everybody, a head nod. Do you approve what he wants to do? Approved.
Okay.
We have to have a roll call vote for that?
No.
So.
Okay.
Oh, a head nod. Okay.
Okay. Next on the
Chairman, my
Yes,
view,
Mr. Federick.
Mr. Rogers, what kind of pay are we talking about here? Just out of curiosity.
It varies. There are 3 different levels of engineering technicians. I don't know exactly what the starting salary for each one is. There's an engineering technician, a senior engineering technician, and a principal engineering technician, and they all vary on qualifications of the person.
Okay, and then I can get that from you later at a later time.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
It's in the
How do you
union
know-
contract.
How do you know which one you're looking for?
The best.
I want to see what, they're hard to get. So I just want to see what we can, what, you know, type of qualified people we can get in and
Okay,
apply.
is this a boots on the ground type position where he's out climbing around all day, or is this somebody who stands in an office somewhere, or what kind of job is
It's
this?
both. I mean,
Okay.
we do kind of a project from beginning to end. A person grabs that job and they have it from beginning to end.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Yes.
I'm the kid on the block, so I got a lot of questions.
So far, they've been good.
Yeah, good. There's a young lady by the name of Aisha Price. She was born here in Kankakee, and her father was an alderman once upon a time who has gone on to heaven. Eddie J. Price was born here as well, too. His daughter, Aisha Price, is a recruiter for IDOT, Illinois Department of Transportation, specifically recruiting engineers and so forth. I can give you her contact information, and
Great.
maybe that could be an avenue for you
I will take
in
it.
terms of WBE, SBE, and MBE. personnel.
Any help I can get, I appreciate
No
that.
problem.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Hunter. Thank you. One more.
Okay. Last is, next slide, is we need to do some exterior building painting. Our big garage was tagged on June 20th of this year, graffiti, vandalism. In the paint storage building, we had some roof leaks that were repaired, but the leaks caused a lot of the paint to start peeling off the building. We got a couple block walls in the shop that are peeling. The cost to do all the painting, priming, and preparation is going to be under $30,000. So the next few pictures can show you kind of what we're talking about. That's what we woke up to on that Saturday morning.
Have you wiped that off? Sprayed it over?
We cleaned that off. It took a whole day.
Yeah.
Plus a couple hours on Saturday to get the worst of it off, but it did take a whole day to get that off of there. Called the insurance company. I think we have a $10,000 deductible, and it was only going to be about $4,000 to fix that. So, but there's the paint building. You can see it's peeling off pretty quickly. Next is the block wall there. You can see some of the paint's peeling there in the shop. But the areas in red, you can see it's on the building on the south side there. It's on 3 sides of that building because the north side is a brick facade. Across the street there is our big metal building where the graffiti was. We're going to do all 4 sides of that. And then the red lines to the east of that, we're just going to do the south wall and the east wall of the shop. And that should come in hopefully between $24,000 and $26,000 to do that. Now, because it's less than $30,000, we don't have to have a letting. We can just get prices and have it done. So
Are you planning on getting 2 or 3 bids
yes,
and take the low bid?
yes,
That's good.
qualified bid.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Mr. Snipes?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With this graffiti that's going on, the feasibility because of the nominal cost of cameras. I don't know if you have cameras out there.
Yes, we do. And in fact, I went back on the camera. I saw the guy. I mean, he tagged a semi trailer just about a half a block south. Then he came up and he did the little water building there across the street from us and got that. And then he came over to us and did his. He was wearing a hood. I couldn't see his face. It was 2:10 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so we did. I mean, I watched him do it. I mean, he took pride in his work, it looked like, because, I mean, he was stepping back and looking, and
Maybe he'll put a bid in.
yeah.
He may bid the work, yeah.
So, yes. Yeah, we do have a camera.
Oh, okay.
So what do you want us to say that's okay to get the bids? What do you?
Yes, I'm gonna spend money, so
Oh, we need-
yeah, we'll need
Okay,
to.
so that's not in your budget?
It's a part of my budget, but it wasn't a planned expense, but yeah.
Okay. I'll need a motion.
Motion, yeah. Motion to go ahead and get bids.
Mr. Hess makes that motion. I have some other second.
I need to second it. because
Okay, second. Second,
The
Larry.
word was that it was a white guy from Bradley.
I'll call.
Well, be a roll call vote.
Mr. Kinzinger,
Aye.
Mr. Long,
Aye.
Mr. Hess,
Aye.
Ms. Polk,
Aye.
Mr. Snipes,
Aye.
Ms. Peters, aye. Mr. Zenz,
Aye.
Ms. Haas,
Aye.
Mr. Carrico,
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff,
Aye.
Mr. Featherling,
Aye.
Mr. Smith, Mr. Kirkstra,
Aye.
Mr. Hunter,
Aye.
motion carries.
Thank you.
I don't have anything else. The only other thing I have is the storm that came through. We did have a lot of trees down and things, but we did get a call from we're members of IPW Man, Illinois Public Works Mutual Aid Network. There was a call from the Village of Grant Park. I guess a tornado went through Grant Park. I couldn't react right away, but hopefully I'll have a crew available to go there tomorrow. But there's a lot of mess still to clean up around. There's trees we can't get to because there's still power lines in them. So it's been a slow process. Yes.
Thank you for the update. Yes,
Mr.
Mr. Hunter.
Chairman, thank you very much. Did the city of Kankakee via the police department do an investigation on the graffiti? Because I saw it. And I got a phone call about it, and I went over there on that Saturday, and was horrendous with the epithets and stuff. So
Yes, yeah. There was a police report done. I don't.
Any follow up by them at all?
I
as
have
to
not
the
heard
culprit?
anything. Not heard anything.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Rogers.
thank you.
Oh, one.
Yes.
Before you
Go
go,
ahead. Mr. Anders, you can be coming up here.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The one bridge I know on River, they redid and had it painted. However, pieces are falling off from it again.
Oh, okay.
So if you go right up under it, you'll see a whole chunk that just came down. So I hope that, that was covered in cost.
I did an inquiry because I saw the work going on over there, and I did find out that those structures, even the one on is it Hawkins?
Yes.
They do belong to the railroad. The railroad is supposed to be doing the inspection, so it's not IDOT's, it's not the city's. It belongs to the railroad. So the railroad must have been doing that work, but I can call my liaison again and tell them that it looks like there's more concrete falling off.
Yeah, you can see it's all, they got a nice painted and it was looking good for a few days, and then as soon as you go like traveling west,
Okay.
it's coming off. And then I don't know if are they going to ever do anything with that on like Hawkins with the.
I don't know that. I can't get an answer on that.
No, okay.
But I did find out whose it was.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
All right, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, everyone, I should say. We'll start off with the facility dude report for the month of July. We had 199 work orders, which is an extremely busy month. We typically run between 165 and 175, so it was a busy July. We'll move on to the financial report. You've got that in front of you. Couple things to call out on this. There were 3 payrolls in for last month. So if you look, we're at the bottom, we're ahead of where we were last year. However, if you go through and you look at all the payroll expenses, which are the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 line items, between those 7 line items, we're up $55,705 over last year. So that's going to be a combination of the 3 payrolls last month, and then that's also going to be part of the having 2 new employees. So between the 2 new employees and the 3 payroll month, we're going to be up significantly on our payroll. So that is, if you back those numbers out, we come down to 562, 678, which is slightly ahead of where we were this time last year. But that's pretty much it on the financials. So if there's any questions, happy to entertain them.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, go ahead.
Wes, could I ask you how many, the custodian amount, is that included in that payroll type thing you're just talking about?
I did hire 2 new custodians, yes.
So that's money we might be getting reimbursed for, is that the case?
As I understand it, yes, that's could be some grant monies available for those positions because they were hired directly for COVID.
So they were hired just to clean, wipe off things, doorknobs, railings, etc.?
Yes, at the courthouse.
And then miscellaneous services, I had a question about. I know that can be a vague term. Can you give me some kind of idea of what puts you over the top on?
Yeah, well, miscellaneous services is going to be service repairs by outside contractors. So that's a line item that we consistently go over every year and have every year that I've been here. And the budget amount is never enough. So those are the types of repairs that once our crew looks at it and can't fix it, then we make a phone call to have somebody come out. So, I hate to say it, but
there's no way to know. I just wanted you to, I can write that down and I'll know next time. And then my question on auto repair, that's something you can't guess either. So do you have old vehicles or?
That is, most of that was, I'm just going off of memory, $3,000+ expense to fix the, our dump truck that sits out at Jerome Combs that we use for plowing and salt spreading. There was an issue with the lift on the dump truck that had to be repaired.
Okay, so yeah, you've had a couple major items then?
That was the largest, and then we did have some tires on some different vehicles that are included in that as well. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't remember all of them, but I do know the biggest one was just a couple months, or just last month, and that was the dump truck.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yep.
Mr. Snipes?
I am looking at, you have a total budget, but it looks like there was nothing budgeted in that line item, say total budget original, but it's like the overtime, it says $1,400 and something that are over, which is considerably down from 2019.
Right.
But it looks like they don't budget anything in that line item.
Yeah, I'm confused on that one. I don't know why that's the case. I'll get with Steve and find out why we don't budget anything there.
Okay, then I see with printing that, not that far over, but $39 over in that, but it looks like there are some items that you're not using. Are you able to kind of go in between? Okay.
Yeah, the printing was for the ADA brochures at the courthouse. That was what that printing is for, and we have several cases of those now, so we won't have any more printing. Training, as you can see, we had $900 there. We don't budget much. We don't budget at all for that because we never know which employees are going to take part in the education that's offered per the contract. So 1 year we may have somebody take advantage of it. The next 3-4 years we may not have anybody take advantage of it. So we do have one employee that's taking classes.
Okay, now under your miscellaneous, I don't know what that is, but I know that it's only been budgeted for $50,000. You like $23,000.
Yeah, that's what Mr. Featherling just asked. That's the service repairs by outside contractors.
Okay. So
anytime we got to call somebody in, and every year since I've been here, that budget, that number should be approaching $90,000, $95,000, $100,000. I think that's about where we were at last year.
Oh, okay. And then I guess the auto repair, I guess that's just we budgeted $1,500, but it looks like it's exceeded that.
Mr. Snipes, we just talked about that.
Where is it? Oh, you just, okay, I didn't hear it
part
back.
of the conversation. $3,000 mostly was repair of a truck.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So
you can't, those kind of expenses you can't project.
Oh, okay, and then the equipment as well. So basically, do they do like an accrual or just amendment to the budget so that you could those total original budget dollars can now kind of, because otherwise it keeps making it look like it's a negative.
Right.
And we want to kind of keep it.
Yeah, as I understand it, and maybe Ron can help, at the end of the year, you guys take a look at the budget and you amend it to, you know, that's why I want to make sure every time I come here that I give you people as much information as possible, because at the end of the year, when it's time to amend the budget, I want you to have all the information and understand why we are over if we are over.
Right.
Well, a budget is a working document subject to variation and the expenses that are incurred on exceptional basis.
Well, I understand that. I have a green account, but what raises my eyebrow is when it's just left, when we don't make the necessary adjustments, so that way it doesn't look like he's always
We do that.
in
We
the
also do
negative.
that. Yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
Too. I think he's doing a great job.
Yeah.
Mr. Hunter.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. What is your overall staffing?
I have 13 employees.
Okay. Any bilingual?
One for sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Continue.
All right, we'll move on to the building report. We'll start here at 189. Obviously, everyone's aware of the storm damage, or the storm that rolled through Monday evening. I came in about 4:30, 5 o'clock after Anita had informed me of some water in the elevator. So we took some damage on the roof. The brick addition that's on the west side of the building that is there for the elevators, and then when you get off the elevators and you turn to the right, that's the brick addition. It goes all the way up to the control room for the elevators on the roof. The winds peeled back, I'd say, about 3 to 4 feet of the roof on the top of the brick addition on that side. Peeled back the roof, had some brick damage, obviously had some water damage. The bricks fell off and damaged the roof below. So I made some calls that evening. We had a roofing contractor here that evening. They did a temporary fix on the roof as we had forecasted rain for that evening. So they came in, they provided some temporary services, got the roof put back down, not fixed. It's basically fixed now. They came out the next day. There's some brickwork that the mortar's curing right now, but we really turned that one around pretty quick. Monday the storm rolled through, and we're sitting here Thursday, and the roof is pretty much fixed. So so we moved pretty quick on that. I'm happy to report. It also picked up and moved some of our air handlers on the roof. 2 of them, in fact, one on the top floor and top of 6, and then one on the lower roof, which is the 2nd floor. And that air handler happens to serve our IT room in the basement. Obviously, that's critical equipment in that IT room. We are currently renting some portable air conditioner right now for the IT room. It's something we got to have. I mean, we can't have that. You know, all that equipment down there generates a lot of heat, and we got to make sure we keep it cool. So we've got a temporary air conditioner in there right now until we can get the outside one replaced. From what I'm told, it's damaged beyond repair. All the piping and everything that connects to the unit and to the building was all broken when it moved. It moved a good 6-7 feet. The wind pushed it. So I'm working on that. Probably the biggest ticket item of all of this is we did take water damage to our elevator. It would be the west elevator, the one that had some water in it. The control system on the roof for that elevator, there's some boards. Water got into the hoistway. The cables got wet. When the cables get wet, they need to be replaced. There's no way around it. So I've already had our elevator contractor out here. They were here today. They're preparing some numbers. They're going to have to order equipment or parts. So, you know, the west elevator is going to be down for a while. So until we can get the parts in and get them back here to repair it. So
these are insurance claims, right?
This will be an insurance claim. The process has already been started.
Thank you.
Moving on to the courthouse.
Yes. Just make a comment. I really appreciate the specificity you're providing to us regarding that storm. You know, a lot of us, you know, entertain questions from constituents and neighbors and so forth, but but I really appreciate, and I'm being redundant, you know, the specifics you gave us regarding what transpired. Not in terms of global stuff, but we needed to hear that.
You're welcome. So moving on to the courthouse, as long as we're on the storm damage topic, we'll go there first. Tree damage and a lot of it. It was all over the place. I called a crew in that night. They got the majority of it cleaned up that evening. They worked on the rest of it the next morning. We did have an antenna on top of the courthouse that is slightly bent. That's something that I'm going to work with the insurance company on that as well. But that was it. As far as there wasn't any other building damage at the courthouse, just the one antenna and then the trees. The courthouse, the concrete at the front steps, I've been working with our architect, and we have a slope issue with the concrete at the front steps. When we redid the front steps, there's a slope issue there now. It's been recommended. It's not recommended. We really have to do it. And I've talked to Ron about this as well a couple times. I've got 2 bids for the concrete work that has to happen. One was $17,846. The other is $22,214. So it's something that needs to be done. And Ron, I don't know if you want to elaborate on that or not, but
No, we just have to do it. You got 2 bids. So I mean, on that basis, it's fine.
okay.
Do we have to have a roll call vote on that, or do you know, to expend that money? But don't have to?
No, I think what we talked about last meeting was you folks approved my budget at the end of the year. So,
Okay.
you know, as long as we're okay with it here in the meeting.
Anybody have any questions? Just a second, you haven't spoken, so I gotta give you due credit. Go ahead, Mr. Smith. Speaking, something.
Well, the concrete is sloping in such a way that we need to get it to be raised up, and it's cracked. So the concrete needs to come out. They need to bring in gravel. They need to change the elevation to get it to the proper height to meet the steps.
It needs to be done.
I agree it needs to be done, but did this occur because of the changes for ADA stuff that we did?
Well, it occurred when the steps had sunk, which is why we did the work on the steps. And then the concrete had also sunk in front of the steps. So when we fixed the steps, then the concrete became an issue.
Other problems. Fix one thing and then there's something else to fix.
Thank you, Chairman. Wes, is it flowing back into the building?
Yeah.
So if we don't fix it right away, what we've already replaced, it's gonna wash out underneath that.
Right, yeah.
Did that answer your questions?
Not really.
What's the question?
I guess I'm, from the sounds of it, or to me, and you know, I've only built a few projects. That should have been something that was seen at the time we were repairing this.
Well, it would have been hard to see because the steps were down a little bit too, so it looked, I guess I didn't see it then because it was all the same. It all looked the same, and it's hard to tell when you're looking at the concrete there where it meets the step. It all looks good, and you don't know that the concrete had sunk and the step had sunk. It looked to me like just the step had fallen down a little bit when in fact the concrete did as well.
And in fairness, one's a masonry trade and the other's a cement trade, so there'd been different people involved in both cases.
I would have thought somebody though would have put a level on it and figured it out.
It's more serious than just a level. It needs to be done, really.
I'm not arguing.
I'd be happy to talk to you about it after the meeting.
Mr. Snipes?
I do notice that, and I seen your budget, and I don't know the difference between normal overtime or overtime, but I know with all of the trees and things that toppled even people's houses as well, certainly the county has been affected. How's your overtime? Are we falling into that?
Our overtime actually, as you can see from the financials, has been pretty good. We're actually down from where we were at this point last year. With regards to the storm damage, though, I would expect all that to be covered under the insurance claim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, so, moving on at the courthouse, if you haven't been over there lately, I'd like to invite you to go over there and take a look. We've painted all the light poles and camera poles over there. The camera poles were gray, the black light poles were obviously black, but they hadn't been painted in years. So we cleaned them up, we painted all of them, they're nice gloss black, it really looks sharp. That was completed a couple weeks ago. In addition to that, we power washed a lot of the exterior, what we could get from the ground. So all the stairwells going down, if you go over there and take a look at it, we were able to get about 7 feet up. If we want to take it to the next step, you know, we probably need to get a lift or something to keep doing it, but it was quite a difference when one of our guys was over there doing it. It really looks good. So if you're ever over that way, take a look at that. But between the driveway, the sidewalks, the power washing, the light poles, you know, we've done a lot of work over there this year, and I'm certainly proud of the way it looks, and I hope everyone else is as well. So that's the report at the courthouse. Nothing to report at the annex. The old jail, a couple things there. I think we touched on this at last month's meeting. The lower roof for the ground floor southwest at the old jail is beyond repair. It ripped a couple weeks ago, not a result of the storm, unfortunately. We had a couple contractors come out. We did receive 2 bids for the work. The roof needs to be removed and replaced. Actually, the bids were almost identical. I had a $12,950 bid, and I had a $12,900 bid. So that's something that I would like to move forward with on the low bidder on that project, if there's not any objection. We really have no choice. The water got underneath the rubber membrane. If you walk up there right now, you squish. It needs to go. So, and just glad it's the lower roof, not the large main roof at that place, because that would have been a big ticket item. So, any questions on that? Okay. And then on the roof there, we had some sheet metal damage. There's a chimney that comes out the top of that. The sheet metal was ripped off, so we had a vendor out there looking at that yesterday. We'll get that repaired in short order as well. JCDC and the morgue, again, storm damage. We had a bunch of trees down out there. We've got those cleaned up. We were without power for 2 days. We were on generator power. I had to have our vendor come out twice and fill up our generators, so those continue to run. We talk at this committee every now and then about preventative maintenance and things like that, and one of the systems in our county buildings that we do have preventative maintenance contracts on is our generators. And when your power's out for 2 days, you're really glad that you have a preventative maintenance program on those generators, because they ran flawlessly for 2 days. And at a critical infrastructure such as the jail, that's very important that those things run. So happy to report that they worked as they should. We're having issues with the morgue cooler. Been working with Coroner Gessner on that. With any luck, we'll have the morgue cooler back up today. Batteries were delivered today. As you remember at this meeting, we talked about replacing the batteries on the inverter. Those were delivered today. That work is scheduled for August 20th. The SureLight system, we talked about that at this committee as well. That is scheduled for August 21 and 24, where the SureLight system will be switched out. LED update, contracts are with the state's attorney's office. I've been working with Nancy. I think within the next few days, hopefully I get those back and we can sign the agreements for both the ComEd portion of the agreement, the Constellation Energy portion of the agreement, and then the General Energy, which is the contractor performing the work. We can sign all those, but those are with state's attorney's office for review. So that's all I got.
Are there any questions for Mr. Andrews?
Mr. Chair.
Who was that?
Mike Zenz.
Mr. Zenz, go ahead, Mr. Zenz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Wes, just wanted to point out, particularly this year with the myriad of things that have occurred this year, I can't commend you and your team enough for everything that you guys have done. I know that you guys have had your backs up against the wall and really have just kind of come through amazingly. So please extend my congratulations to your team.
I will, thank you.
I think you have something for us. Let's see, we have any new business? Is there any other business? I've been waiting. It's seconded by Mr. Kirkstra. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Thank you.